Well, what does schools mean to me?
I think it's a place where I learn.
Where we don't feel like students, but we feel like a family.
In 2014, South Auckland Middle School opened.
School means pathways of opportunities and friends that will support you.
For 120 students,
When I come to school, I feel very safe and positive about my learning.
it would be the beginning of an educational transformation.
When the children come through the gate, we encourage them to treat it like their haven.
Changing the way they learn through project-based integrated curriculum.
Whatever background they're coming out of, as soon as they step into the gate, they are welcomed as they are, but with the opportunity of doing something remarkable and new every day.
After considerable research in New Zealand and overseas, Alwyn Poole designed a project-based integrated curriculum, a curriculum designed to suit both the New Zealand and international education systems.
So we have our 5 core classes, plus the children do this hour a day working on cross-curricular projects. And so alongside the core learning, they've got this wonderful project work that they present every 5 weeks.
The day starts at 8:30 with students split into 2 learning villas, Manuka and Totara. Each villa consists of 4 classes from years 7 through to 10, equivalent of US grades 6 to 9, with 15 students in each class. There's a focus on academic learning in the morning, with 3-hour-long teacher-led lessons covering English, maths, social studies, science and technology. And an hour of independent learning when students work on individual projects with teachers available if needed.
I just am firmly behind what we do here as being amazing and innovative and having results.
As well as being the school principal, Wendy Grieg is the academic manager for Totara and teaches English.
It's a project-based integrated curriculum, and that's really important because we basically cover the New Zealand curriculum in 2 places. So it's covered in the projects that they do on 5 weekly basis normally. So there's 1 project for 5 weeks and they'll go into a new one, so it's 2 per term. And then within that, in our subject curriculum areas, we are actually feeding in thematically into that idea and task and skill level as well.
Across the year, there are 8 projects. Within each of these, there are a set of tasks for students to develop responses to over a 5-week period.
So what they're learning, for instance, for example, what they'll be learning in their English classroom will have a link to what the project base is. And I make sure as an English teacher that the skill that they need for English, whether it's a writing skill or an oral speaking skill or a listening or a reading skill, I'm integrating that into my classroom as well, so they get the strength of that skill into their independent learning.
This Year 10 class are working on a project titled Business in Action. In mathematics, they've covered the finances around business. In social studies, the economics of their business. And here in English, they're working on the formal writing and structure of a business proposal.
The solution I present to you is NutriApp, the first app that is there with you through the hustling life of a career.
Right now, our project is business in action, and we have to find a product, just make one up, a theory, something we could do in the future, and try sell it and do research on it, statistics, market research, and just present what we have to the class.
Academic expectations for students here are high, and there's a strong focus on developing independence and self-management.
Our school is unique in that area because at other schools they don't have that time to just rely on themselves with no grown-ups around. But here, we are our own boss in those times, and we have to evaluate everything we're doing and make sure we're on the right track.
You know, it's kind of a phrase that we use in education a lot, talking about, we want our students to be lifelong learners.
Academic manager for Manuka, Rebecca Dow, also teaches social studies. This class are working on a project called Change Through Technology.
So within social studies, I look at that topic and think, okay, well, what has been some change through technology? Looking particularly at the Industrial Revolution and see how the rise of machines actually brought change to society and change to the way that things had been produced over time.
The 6th project of the year, this involves completing a number of tasks. In this case, the central skill is mind mapping.
And so it's a process of getting them to read information, articulate and identify the keywords, and then summarise that, but also make links and make connections between particular keywords and particular themes within what they're reading.
Each project has a range of response types to set tasks. These can be formally or creatively written, oral, visual, web-based and practically made. Students also develop a broad range of IT skills.
That's another thing that I find really enriching about our curriculum is in the past I've found that a lot of students find it really hard to connect the dots between subjects, to understand, okay, how does history actually relate to understanding how to spell and then how, the arts and then mathematics, they don't see it holistically. And so this, even in the mind mapping, they are holistically putting it all onto one page and they're really having to think about it.
The school's holistic approach doesn't stop at the classroom door. Family involvement is key.
I love every single family that comes through those doors. I love every single one of those kids.
South Auckland Middle School students are mainly Māori and Pasifika, and a significant number come from a lower socioeconomic background. Community Liaison Officer Elliot Ikile makes sure home life for students is as supportive as possible.
You do have a group of our students who do exist not solely but very strongly on a fight and flight response, where they are coming from homes which are extremely problematic, and that of course does limit their ability to take on new information. Many of them are what you would call that new term working poor, so they are working, the families are working, but their money's just not quite meeting what they need.
Here, students are all provided with free uniforms and stationery. Afternoons are dedicated to creative subjects, music, art and sport. Elliot also runs after-school activities.
There's a lot of love here and there's a lot of support that we can actually provide, that we do provide. And many of the whānau as well are very supportive of what we're doing. And that helps. They themselves love their kids. That's huge.
An approach that is working for these students.
It's so wonderful to be part of a team who do push strongly, and project-based learning, as far as I'm concerned, is the way for our kids to succeed, both in their general personal lives and also whatever they'll go on to in the future.
Academically, progress is both expected and measured through a range of tools, including national standards.
But there's not one child in the school that hasn't made progress academically through the project-based curriculum and the integrated curriculum. And the change within a year, now that we've had our first year under our belt, we can really see where the students began with us and now where they're at, which is exciting. And to see some of the changes is just incredible.
The aim is to set them up with qualifications, which will enable them to go on to tertiary study and careers beyond that.
The skills that we're instilling in them is so that they can actually go anywhere and be successful, because they're independent, self-aware learners. And if you put a child that's confident within their learning and themselves anywhere, they should succeed. And that's what we're trying to do.
Success the team are keen to develop further.
The dream on a day-to-day basis is for every one of the 120 children to be succeeding, to be making some progress, to giving themselves some opportunities for later on in life. We believe that our curriculum has a much wider applicability, and that there are some things about what we're doing here that other schools can learn off.
For these students, South Auckland Middle School is just the beginning of their journey into the future.
I want to be an accountant when I grow up.
I either want to be an architect or industrial or graphic designer.
I want to do performing arts and be a professional actor.
High school music teacher or a pediatrician. My dream when I leave school is to be an all-black rugby player, but if that doesn't happen, I'll be join the army.